Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's show. The truth shall set you free. We seem to be living in a world overflowing with headlines, breaking news, and voices all competing for your attention, and not all of it's meant to inform you. Some of it's meant to distract, confuse, and divide. One of the most important tools we can use is discernment. So today we're going to have an open discussion together, not just about the news, but how we process it, the things in the news that are concerning each of us, and how do we stay grounded when the noise gets too loud? How do we avoid being pulled into the distractions that don't matter? This isn't about me telling you what to think or how to feel or what to do. It's about us learning from each other to stay sharp, stay aware, and stay prayed up. We all know that the past week has been a very unique week in the news. And something crossed my mind the other day or a few hours ago, um, as I was thinking about this show. Hey, everybody. I see everybody over there. Um, some years back, Daniel talks about it quite a bit. We remember the thing that happened in New York. That tragic day, so many lives were lost. What happened the day before that day? There was a bunch of money missing, wasn't there? Trillions of dollars had just disappeared. But that happens the next day and it's forgotten news. So then you come back to what happened last week with Charlie. What happened the day before? Well, there just happened to be Senate hearings that day before, and it was a disclosure of whistleblowers who were talking about tech and things that were out in that place they call 51. Um, of course, we can't really say what we want to say on the air anymore, so I guess we don't quite have the freedom of speech that we need. We get filtered and edited and throttled and blacklist and shadow banned if you say one word wrong, especially if you call the names of those who are pulling the strings. Um, I see Martin and TNT and Soul 7, Logic Before Authority, and Mike. You're all here. Hey, guys. Glad you could be with me today. One of the things that they were doing the day before the incident happened in Utah was they had had full days of congressional hearings, Senate hearings, whatever it was, and they were disclosing technology and some of these videos we see that we haven't been able to explain. And we actually went over one the other day on the show with Daniel about where the Hellfire missile hits one and it appeared to be liquid. But they were disclosing all of that the day before Charlie incident happened. Um, I'd seen Charlie before. I'd listened to Charlie before. I've never really seen anything hateful come out of Charlie's mouth. Um, he seemed to be a God fearing man. I don't know him personally. I do know he had some very unique political ties, but I think part of what may have put him where he is now is because he was bucking against those political ties that he had, and he was told to be quiet, and he wouldn't be quiet. Hey, Super Dave, I see you popping in over there. Um, but go back and look at what happened the day before Utah. And no, Mike, we don't have free speech anymore. The world is a stage and we're watching a movie. It is central casting, as Super Dave has pointed out so greatly. I don't know if anybody has been over to Super Dave 44's channel, but he made an excellent video on central casting. And then you realize how many times that people in front of those cameras call out, don't they look just like they're out of central casting? Makes you think. Um, we all know that the strings that are pulling this along, the puppet masters have been doing it for quite some time. And when I started down the rabbit hole, my first rabbit hole was World War II. And I went back a little previous to World War II because World War II seems to be where it all starts just going sideways. The anytime, a lot of times, not anytime, not all the time, but a lot of times, when you have someone who has been oppressed for some reason, any reason by another party, they're angry. And I get it. There are so many things out there on social media and on the news and mainstream media, even on individual channels, that you have to be careful of. There are a lot of people out there that hear information and just take off running with it like it's fact and it's truth and this is what it is. And they're trying to beat it into you. When you're listening to others, including myself, never ever assume that what someone says is true. Go investigate it and dig through it for yourself. The truth will set you free. But just because you hear somebody else say it, do not accept it for the truth. I try to go many, many, many places and um, look for the truth from multiple different sources. And a lot of times when I find something that's hard to believe or the truth is hard to believe, I go to Daniel. Daniel is my go-to to bounce things off of because he has been doing this way longer than I have. So some of the rabbit holes I fall down, he's already been down them, dug out, and on another rabbit hole. So, but yeah, make sure whoever you're listening to is telling you the truth or giving you all the facts. This is what it's about: is making sure you have all of the information and the correct information because there's so much misinformation out there. Greetings from the UK. When the minor group conspired to start World War One, both of these events are significant. They are. There are things significant way before the man with the little mustache even comes into power. There was a lot more at stake than what they've ever led us to believe. A lot of the things that they taught us in school, in American schools, the history, the science, heck, even some of the math, is a lie. Wes, I'm not sure about that as to whether he is or he isn't. And I hate to state one way or the other because one way or the other I may be wrong. I have my own uh, idea on that, and I've looked at a lot of the evidence. So I don't know. I've seen quite a few people in Cuba. That's all I can say. Tupac's there and Biggie. And we all know that I decode Ingersoll Lockwood on the regular. One of those songs was I'll See You in Cuba. I don't know if that was relevant or if it wasn't. I don't know. I just know it was there. Kirk's dad built Trump Tower, designed it anyhow. Hmm, I did not know that. I'll have to go look into that one. I'd not done a lot of research on Charlie. I do know from watching Charlie's debates, I never saw anything hateful or ugly towards other people come out of his mouth. I think he had some genuinely wonderful debates with people. I know that he did not believe in race, period, that it was a misnomer. We are all the same creature genetically. Some people just have more melanin in their skin than we do. That's not any reason for division. But as long as people push race, there will always be a race issue. We all have to forget about race and just realize that we are all God's creatures and we were all built in the image of God. And you just got to love one another. I mean, love thy neighbor. It's simple things to live by, but there are so many forces out there that try to divide us on color and creed and nationality and what music you like and what TV shows you like and you don't like to dress like me or you look different than me. It's just to divide you. In order to conquer and control a people, you must divide them. If you've ever seen the movie Ants, it's a good watch. Go watch it. It's a kids' movie, but it tells you. But that indoctrination starts in schools. I suggest, and I have two grandchildren that I help take care of with my daughter, and I know it's not easy, but I would suggest that anybody who has a child in public school or private school, if you have the means or the time, go homeschool, because then you know what your children are learning. They're You have no idea what the ideology of these teachers that are in your child's life. I mean, we've seen a lot since the you with Charlie the other day. All these people coming out online, saying these horrible things. First off, anybody who relishes in the death of another person is a sadist. And this is my belief. If anybody doesn't like this, I apologize. I'm not trying to hurt feelings, but this is the way I feel. Anybody who relishes in the death of another person is a sadist. There is nothing to relish in about the death of another soul. It doesn't matter whether that person was a mass murderer. Yes, they need to be punished for their crime. I am not against the death penalty, but it is still sad to lose that soul because they took other souls. The loss of life, period, of another soul is a sad event. It is surely nothing to go online and relish in or celebrate or post things about. But the thing I've seen about these horrible people going online celebrating about it, these people are teaching our children in school. These are elementary and middle school teachers. It's just like the ones who are taking their rainbow flag in there and posting it up in the room. And they're teaching our elementary school children about their personal preferences, and some who think they are man and want to be woman and want to be man. The first thing you need to do to get a demon inside of somebody is to remove their identity. In the Bible, demons are referred to as they and them. They are not referred to as she, he, or him. They are referred to as they or them, as in multiple. You have to remove their identity to fill it with demonic thoughts. It's that simple. But if we're not observant of who these teachers are and administrators and daycare workers, if you don't know who these people are, they're spending 6 to 8 hours a day with your child. The, a child's mind is so easily corrupted or bent that if you have the wrong people in that child's presence, you can change that child forever. Because I can guarantee you, a lot of these children who are having mental health issues or that think they're a furry. I mean, I've seen these kids that think they're cats and dogs and wolves and dolphins. That is a mental health issue. And if the parent cannot see that and they perpetuate this behavior by a child, thinking that that child is actually going to be able to have a productive life, the parent needs mental health too. You got to know who these people are around your children. And we all know that the puppet masters are literally taking them for their own purposes to try to stay here forever. Let's see. Have I not made y'all mods yet? I see you guys talking over there, Mike. You're not blue. I'm sorry. I'll make you all blue. But yes, yes, Daniel, the Rockefeller education system assigns them. I'm assuming that most people around here know what we're talking about when we say that, or the Rothschilds or Rockefellers or whoever. And yes, child abuse is rampant in the school system. That is your original location for grooming. And just FYI, I don't know that everybody has had the sad opportunity of dealing with a situation like that in your life. But just let me present something to you. I don't know if you've ever thought about this before. A lot of us have aunts or uncles or, great uncle or whoever you've seen at a family reunion or family gathering, or they come around your house every once in a while. You ever had that family member who always told the inappropriate joke in front of a child? Hmm? I did. That is gauging a child. That is pre grooming. When somebody who is an adult who knows that that is inappropriate content to be around a small child and you say it, watch them. They're watching the kid to see what the kid's reaction is. If it doesn't shock the kid or they don't shy away and go, the door is open. We have to be careful about the things that our children see on video games, on television. I mean, everywhere. Even the conversations you're having in the same room with your kids. Kids are kids. They're not supposed to be listening to mom and dad have conversations about grown up things. Because the more you talk to these kids and the more this seeps into their mind, the older their mind seems to become. It's the loss of innocence. If you know anything about that, and yeah, I know we're on YouTube. I can't save it so much with this word, but sometimes you have adrenaline in your system, and sometimes you have chrome wheels on your truck. We're just going to leave it like that. That comes from the best one they can get, like, top level, top shelf. They like the ones that are innocent, the ones that are still innocent and curious, and their mind is open. They put them in a state of fear, and they torture them, and then they do what they do. Once a child loses their innocence, the world changes for them. Every child. Once innocence is gone, you're no longer a child. The best time in your life is when you're a child. 7, 8, 10, 11, 12 years old before puberty hits. Because once puberty hits, you got this whole other set of ideas of things that are going on in life. You're worried about little girls and little boys and what you look like and how you dress. That's where their ego starts being made. Yes. Yes, Joey. Fighting in front of children does change them. It changes their concept of the world, and it changes their concept of the adults. And yes, Monsters Inc. showed it, Daniel, like the harvesting of fear. It's called looshing. Look up looshing. Looshing. You don't know what it is? Figure it out, and then you'll know why Disney World was built the way it was. Um And yes, as Gen X kids, we're built different. We are one of the last generations that were pre-tech, pre-social media, pre-internet. And people don't understand this who are not in this generation or older, the pre-tech generation, where you come running home off the school bus, ran in the house, got out your school clothes, put on your dirty clothes, got on your bicycle, and disappeared. You come back home when you got hungry. Your parents knew you would. It was just what we did. We didn't have a GPS tracker stuck in our backpack and a cell phone in our pocket. Now, Daniel and I went down a ride through memory lane from when we were kids here a while back, and our neighborhood was not quite as big as we thought it was. But to us as children, it felt huge. It, I mean, it just felt like it was miles wide and long, the little neighborhood we lived in. Now we realize when we were riding our bikes and we thought we were free and we rode all the way out to the paved road, they could still almost see us. But that's the concept of a child. You are you're in your own world. You don't have to worry about the light bill or the phone bill or whether there's going to be groceries. None of those stresses or worries are on you. And yes, Soul 7, I do miss the days before the internet and cell phones. It was a completely different world back then. Unfortunately, we're never going to know that world again. And unfortunately, this new AI that we have now gives you a screwed up context of what the world actually is now. Because now, before, if you saw it with your own eyes, you, figured about half of it was true. Now, unfortunately, that has gone down to where you can only believe 5% of what you're seeing. If you don't witness it for yourself in first person anymore, you can't believe that it's the truth. And let me tell you, these cell phones and the internet have broken up more marriages and more relationships and more families than anything else I can think of. Because normally you wouldn't have that much contact with, people you went to high school with, and you got men and women out there that are married and they get bored in their marriage, and then all of a sudden, there's Joe or Tammy that you went to high school with. And it's like, hey, what you doing? Next thing you know, there's infidelity. Cell phones will ruin your relationships and your marriage, and so will social media. It puts you in a paranoid state sometimes where you're always questioning, why is that person, your partner, why are they on the phone so much? Who are they talking to? Who are they texting? Who are they sharing this stuff with? Paranoia is fear, and that's what the other side relishes in, is your fear. So the more you can steadfast in what you firmly believe and what you firmly know to be true, is the greater good. There was one thing that I did notice after this Charlie incident, was that the whole world seemed to stand up and praise God. That's a good thing. It's a good thing any day of the week, because the collective consciousness is what shapes our world. And the more we can lean toward light versus dark, it's always a better day. Um, I do know, sorry, we got off track. We were talking about homeschooling with the kids. But when you're talking about schools, let's look at these schools that our children go to. They get on a bus. Not all schools, but some, they have to wear uniforms. They, when they go to lunch, they got these plastic trays. It's this block brick building that is just so blah with no color. And they've got fluorescent lights, which are screwing with their mind. Um, Looks just like prison, doesn't it? Prison's just got, bars in front of the cell. It's called soft conditioning. Y'all have heard me mention this before. There are several states, and I'm sure it happens all over the country, but they estimate future prison population off of the reading test scores of third graders. So we can go into this whole long theory of who owns those prisons. It's the same people that make music videos that your children are watching. The entertainment industry owns the prison industry. So if they are promoting to your children, the no matter what genre it is, if it's anything they're promoting to your children, which is violence or drinking or premarital, I call it coloring in the coloring book because I got a 10-year-old sitting in front of me watching TV at the moment. But we're going to call it coloring in the coloring book. Premarital coloring, extramarital coloring. These are the type of things that are put in these music videos, much less the fact that the artist you have, um, let's just remember that most of these artists are the kind of people that go to parties at the Diddy house. These are the people that are making videos that your children are seeing. You've got half naked women out there doing God knows what to on the screen. This is the impression you're putting in your mind. And ladies, your daughter's morality in life will be based off of what she observes from her closest females every day, all day. Your moral compass, most of the time, is from the moral compass of the parents that raised you, whether it be parents, grandparents, aunt and uncle, whoever raised you. Whatever you saw them do that was their level of normal when you're a young adult, that's your okay level of normal. There's a lot of people. I watched a thing yesterday, and it was, young, college, early 20-ish kids, and they were asking them, "Have you ever drank? Have you ever done drugs?" And there was a couple of the girls that were like, "No," they had never done drugs, never smoked any. And so one of the guys asked, she said, "My mama would kill me." She had never seen her parents partake in any of that. Her parents were careful that she didn't associate with other children who had parents that did associate with that. Because even if you go over to your best friend's house, whatever that best friend's parents' morality level is going to bleed into your child. You have to think of your children like a white cotton t shirt being tie dyed by the world. Only you can control what colors go into your child. We are to the point in this world that we worry about the ice cream trucks in the neighborhood. How do I know? And this is a sad place to be in the world, folks. How do I know that the people driving the ice cream trucks are not just trying to mark it on the map as to where they see kids' bicycles and trampolines at to snatch them when they come off the bus? Because I don't know if you've ever seen what some of these drug addicts would do for $20. They'll steal their mama's weed eater. What you think they'd do for 20,000? You think they'd snatch your kid from the bus stop or Walmart in a heartbeat? Meth has consumed our country. People who are using it are hallucinating. They don't think straight. They are seeing all kind of things. And just FYI, that little man with the mustache, that's what he dosed his soldiers with. All of these medications that they give these children for ADHD, that's what their base is in. That's what it is. It's just a controlled dose of it. Please go look it up. Find your own information. They are now discovering what is causing that. They are coming out, and there are several states now that are completely disbanding the sticky pokey schedule that children are supposed to get. Florida has said no, it is not required anymore. And if you don't know, you can go around that. You can get a religious exemption for it. You go to your local Department of Health, they have a form, you fill it out, you give it to the school. The school cannot deny your child entry if you use a religious exemption not to take the sticky pokey. I wish I'd have known then what I know now about my children. Unfortunately, mine were hitting puberty by the time I figured out that the sticky pokey was what messed up my son. There's a lot of stuff in there. When you go and look at the actual ingredients, you realize that's not something that's supposed to be inside of you. God had a great design, and we shouldn't be messing with it. Yes, it does cause delusions and psychosis. And sometimes I almost wonder if those people aren't seeing beyond a veil, because I've actually had a conversation with somebody who at one time had some serious issues with drugs. And this was a conversation Willie and I had the other day that I wish I could depend on this person to be coherent enough to have a conversation for you guys and to listen to what he has to say. Um, and yes, some of his stuff is rambling. He's tried a lot of substances in his life. Unfortunately, his life is not going to go much of anywhere anymore. But some of the things he talked about actually make sense now. And this was 5 years ago. I had one conversation with this person for probably maybe an hour, just conversation with him. Willie introduced me to him. He's a neighbor. And he's like, he's kind of like, listen to what this dude says. It's crazy. And so we were in there, and yeah, what he said was crazy. A lot of it was crazy. But now, 5 years later, some of it actually makes sense to me. Maybe I'll go into that one day. We're gonna call him Ant Man. He lives down the road. And yes, Daniel's son was harmed by the sticky pokey as well. Um, those things aren't good. This was supposed to be a show about the truth, but I think it's kind of geared a little more toward using the truth to save your children. They want your children. Those puppet masters pulling the strings, they want your children, and they need them in those indoctrination centers so they can bend their mind. I was a gifted and talented student. For several years, I went to a special class once a week, every week, with my best friend, who I'm still best friends with. We've been best friends for 45 years. We went to the same class every day, every week. We got on a bus, went to a whole different facility, went to this class, bussed back to our home school, and then went home. I did this for, I think, 4 years. I can remember two of those classes. You would think as a child. Now, I'm not talking about a 4-year-old. I'm talking about I'm 10, 11 years old doing this. My granddaughter, who is 9, can tell you what happened 3 years ago on a Tuesday. I don't remember it. I just got corrected by the 10-year-old. He said she's only 8. I should remember more of this. And there's a lot of things to that. If you'll go out and look up the Gate Kids and the Gateway program, we are pretty sure that the little pink liquid that we went in was some ultra stuff, because that can cause memory loss. It can also cause bipolar. It can cause a lot of things. Have you noticed that the diagnosis of bipolar, schizophrenia, and all of that has spiked and ramped severely since the late 90s, early 2000s? That starts in elementary school. Yes, TV is the greatest weapon ever. If you just sit and veg out on that entertainment, I thought about a word earlier that makes me think of entertainment when we're talking about prisons and schools. Containment. It's to contain you within the walls of your home for programming. It's to keep you busy and distracted. Um, let's see. Yeah, Soul Sevens told me about. And over on the West Coast, a 12-year-old can get medical autonomy so that the parents don't have any control over it. And West Coast is another situation where we're seeing parents over here on the East Coast moving to the West Coast because they're divorced, and one parent is saying that the child is transgender, and the other parent is saying no, that the mother and the child have some mental health issues we need to address. So the parent who believes in the transgenderism moves their kid out west. The other parent here can't do anything about it until it's way too late. And if you'll go back and look at the statistics of the children who did make that transition in their teenage years, most of them wish they had never done it now. Entertainment program, devices, yeah, all devices. It's a black mirror. Um, my grandfather literally got a sticky pokey and fell dead in the parking lot in 1977. Like, didn't even make it to the car because of the side effects of it. I grew up without a grandfather on that side of my family because of a sticky pokey. And there were many children in that family that grew up without a father because of it. There are a lot of people. And if you've seen that sticky pokey that come out after we all had to stay in our house for a while, look at some of the side effects that are coming from that. And go look at, let me tell you an interesting thing to go look at. Go look at your funeral directors, your embalmers, what they're pulling out of people. Go investigate who owned the patent to what caused that lockdown. There are pictures of the patent owner and a past president over there where they said that bat got loose. It's all one big conspiracy, and it's all controlled by one group of people. Those people were oppressed. I have found out that even the pictures from Auschwitz, where they show people lined up against the fence being saved with blankets around them, yes, it did happen. Yes, that was tragic. What Little Mustache Man did to those people was horrific. Absolutely horrific. It was sadist. But those pictures were fake. Those pictures were staged later. There are actually people who are still alive that said they were there when that happened. They were young children. When they were rescued, the snow was over knee deep. There's no snow in the pictures you see. They actually came back later in the year and staged those pictures for everybody. They have been faking the photos of history since World War II and before. They will fake anything and everything to make you believe a story. It's all about your belief in the story. 3 days of darkness. Yeah, we've talked a bit about these days of darkness. Joey says she's a girl. Everybody, Joey's a girl. There can be Joey girls. Hi, Joey. Glad to have you here. Let's see. Let's look at the comments a minute. I'm trying to read them as we go and I talk, but sometimes it's hard to keep up with them. Yeah, the Black Awakening as well. Yeah. There's two awakenings. There's light and there's dark. Just like, well, when we were kids, Gen Xers, we had comic books and Saturday morning cartoons. There's every storyline you watch on TV, just about as a good guy and a bad guy. There's good and evil. But let's go on back to Scooby Doo and Shaggy. Who did Scooby Doo and Shaggy and Velma and Daphne show you that the bad people were? Didn't matter whether they were dressed up as a lizard or a monster or Godzilla. When they ripped the mask off, it was still a human, still a man or woman behind it. Man is their own monster. There are monsters among us, and they watch everything you do, everything you say, every comment you make. And just like we've seen since Charlie was incident happened the other day, within 24 hours, they had already traced down everywhere this young man, they say, allegedly committed this crime. Everywhere he chatted or talked or texted or everywhere, they got all of it. Like instantly. They had it before they ever got there. There is sorry for the pause, y'all. I'm trying to think of the right word so I don't get shadow banned or blow up channels, but there's this social thing that we all get on. Has book in the name. Put your face on it. That'll tell you. And a search engine. It's like oogling. Those were CIA operations. Still are. Always have been. They don't need to spy on us, folks. We get on social media and tell them everything. You tell them where you work. You tell them who your wife is, who your husband is, who your kids are, what kind of car you drive, where you were last Thursday when you had dinner at the new restaurant. I used to try to impressing on people. If you're going on vacation, don't go on there and post, can't wait to leave next Friday to go to Florida. You just told every crook in the neighborhood you ain't going to be home all weekend. You got to remember that with all your information that you put out into the world. Everything you broadcast, somebody somewhere saw it, tracked it, and wrote it down. There is no privacy anymore. Freedom of speech is becoming a very narrow window that you have to fit into. The people that got online and said all those horrible things after Utah last week, no, they should not have said those things. What they said was horrible. And like I said, that's sadist behavior. Ain't no God in them if that's how they feel. Because losing any life, regardless of whose it is sad. But everybody has the freedom of speech. We're supposed to be able to have it, to say what's on your mind. You should not be able to say harmful things. But part of the reason that Utah happened is because somebody didn't like what that man was saying. He never brought violence or committed violence or incited violence. He did everything exact opposite. He didn't want anybody to have violence. He wanted to have a conversation. Two people having an argument, nobody wins. When you come to a table, whether it be with your spouse, your parent, your best friend, or a stranger, if you come into it in an argument, there will be no resolution because both people that come into an argument have already become steadfast in their point to prove their point. You're not going to bend. You're not going to listen to the other person. You're not going to be open minded. That's an argument. Anytime you're in that situation, don't argue. Take a minute. Think about it because the choices you make when you're emotional would more than likely not be the same choice you would make in a rational manner if you were having a conversation. And sometimes it sounds corny and some people say it's wussy or whatever to give it a minute. Let's just say a relationship. If you're having a disagreement in your relationship, whether it be about money or how you're raising your kids, yelling and screaming about it ain't going to solve nothing. Breathe a minute. Come back to the other person and say, listen, this is how I feel. Tell me how you feel, and let's find a middle ground. Because if there's no middle ground to be had, you shouldn't even be having the conversation or the arguments. You just need to go your separate ways. It's called compromise. That comes through conversation, not through confrontation. Confrontation and violence get us nowhere in this world except deeper in a dark hole that we're already in. Take a minute, breathe, and always remember that people that you're willing to have a conversation with instead of a confrontation are people that you love, and you love them for a reason. And if you love them enough, you love them enough to take a minute and have it non-emotional. Nothing nothing good ever comes out of being that mad at somebody that you can't find middle ground. Sometimes you just got to walk away and breathe. Sorry guys, back to where we were at. Be aware of who is around your children for hours and hours a day. I don't care if it's the teacher, I don't care if it's daycare, I don't care if it's Aunt Judy. If Aunt Judy has a warped sense of value, don't let your kid be around there. Make sure your kid knows the truth about the world, but knows it in a way that they can handle. Because, like to yes, Daniel, the truth will set you free. Seek the truth. Never seek it from just one source. Make sure you go and look at the sources of information that you're listening to. Because just because you hear something on a YouTube channel or Fox or CNN doesn't mean that any of it is the truth. Go dig, go look. Because I'm telling you, my whole indoctrination thing on these public schools, I was raised in public school. I was a really good student, really good student. They taught us bull. This stuff isn't true. They have warped history to control us and the narrative. There's an institute in Washington, starts with Smith. The majority of the truth about history that Americans need to know is up under it. Because if everybody that lives on this piece of dirt called America, if you think that the colonizers were the first ones that were here, you need to go do some research. We did not we did not build this country. We found this country. Go look at your buildings in big cities that are made out of granite and marble. They all say founded. They don't say built in 1887. They say founded in 1887. Founded in 1887 means that they found the building and repurposed it. There's no way that a civilization that come over here with horses and wagons and boats built those buildings. Just go look at the architecture and the construction and the engineering and what it would take to build that building today, over 100 years later. And you'll start seeing the lies that have been planted in front of your eyes that you never saw. Go look at the Grand Canyon and realize how many areas of it are off limits to the Americans. It's a national park, means our tax money pays for it, but yet they keep us out of it. Why? What you hiding? Don't tell me it's because of danger, because the whole Grand Canyon is dangerous if you're gonna go in there walking off a cliff face. Pay attention to the truth. Don't accept what you see as fact. Go search for the facts. Go look for the documentation. Yes, Kirk was extremely well connected, and he had been the majority of his career. There's a lot more going on there than we realize with all of that. Hey, Mama Rach, it's good to see you here. Um, there's a lot more going on with that, and it's going to be some time before we see or hear it all. But my final opinion about that is Tupac's in Cuba. Go look him up. He still sounds the same, still looks the same. He just got some gray dreads. Hey, Carol. Biggie's there too, by the way. And as Super Dave points out so eloquently to us with this central casting thing, if you notice, okay, everybody knows who Conway Twitty was. Conway Twitty. That was not his real name. His real name was Harold Jenkins. He threw a dart at a map and come up with his stage name. Stage names are just characters. Sometimes the character has to die, just like in the movie. When you see any actor in a movie, whatever role they're playing, the character dies. They go on to make another movie. I mean, it doesn't mean that whoever that actor was that died. So if everything you're seeing is a movie, just know that characters die. They can come back as other characters. Just depends on which side of the light you're on or if you're standing in the dark. Um, yes, the world is a stage. It's a stage for the movie that we're watching. So you've got to have extreme discernment in what you're watching. Let's see. I've not been down that rabbit hole about Kirk and his wife. I've not had the time to get down that rabbit hole. I am still stuck on the rabbit hole of World War II. There's a lot of things coming forward, but it doesn't matter what project or program that I go look into, all of them lead back to starting from there. And go back to your timeline of things and events that happened there and the things that happened before the little man with the mustache and who he was in contact with and what he was seeking. He was seeking something in Antarctica. He was seeking tech. Hey, Wayne the Pain. He was seeking tech. He did not die in that bunker. He went to Argentina where he fathered 2 children. The Argentina government has released documents. So don't believe everything he told. We were told that he was trying to take over the world, so we went over there and we stopped him and we ended him in that bunker. No, I don't think the little man with the mustache was a good person by any means necessary. He had a serious ego and a god complex, and he was a sadist. But who he was fighting against has not been represented to us properly. One of his things he said, by the time you figure out who and what I was fighting, it'll be too late for you. And if we've all paid attention to who and what we think is pulling the strings behind all of this, it's the exact same thing he said. By the time you figure out who and what I was fighting, it'll be too late for you. This was spoken by him outwardly right before he supposedly, did himself in the bunker or whatever. Go look it up. Go look up what he was trying to do and why he was trying to stop that certain group of people. And if you'll notice now, when that certain group of people who were rescued from those camps, that group, not those individuals, but that group, if they're being questioned about their association or relationship with some bad people in this world, they bring up those camps. Like, oh, we brought that up. You can't ask us any more questions. You got to feel bad for us. That happened. We're not bad people. Don't look at us anymore. But we're pulling all the strings. This is who Epstein worked for. This is who Diddy worked for. This is who all of those companies that those people work for are owned by and controlled. Go look and see who owns the diamond industry. They own the jewel industry in New York. They own a lot of industry. They own a lot of things around you that you don't even know they own. A lot of things. Restaurants, gas stations, beachwear stores, a lot of things. It'll blow your mind to realize how much of it that they own, and they work as a group. This ain't like I own a gas station and you own a gas station and we don't know each other. All these work together. So think of the conglomerate of Wally World and how their distribution and shipping works and how they buy things on such a grand scale and sell it so cheap. And then you'll understand the business model of these others. But if you come in and you own the majority of the gas stations and you want to cause a calamity, shut down the gas stations. You can't let any one group or person have control over all of that. It's called a monopoly. And once you get a monopoly, you are in control. I saw where Rubio submitted a bill making it illegal to talk about it. That's against free speech. That is plain and simple against free speech, and he should be removed from office. I am so tired of hearing about we can't say it. We can't talk about it. We can't call their name. And I can't call their name on here because if I do, it'll blow up the channel. I mean, we'll be demoted, shadow banned, probably end me altogether if I say what I wanted to say out loud. That's the reason for Beyond the Veil, guys. Yes, socialism is a monopoly. Consumerism is what we live in. I don't think we're a republic or a democracy anymore. It's all about monopoly. Once they monopolize how you get your resources, your food, your water, your fuel, once they've turned all that into consumerist economic cycle, you are stuck in it. It is a slave cycle. Our ancestors many, many generations ago did not live in this type of consumerist technology age that we live in. There you go, you hooligans. Um, 100%. But I've kept you guys about an hour. But I wanted to impress today the need for homeschooling of your own curriculum. See, I never understood what my dad said. My dad was old school. Y'all have heard about my dad before. He was a mechanic, drag racer, dirt track racer. My dad went to the 8th grade in school. Never went any further. My dad was a smart man. I've seen my daddy come out with race car engines that nobody could beat, race cars that nobody could outrun, drag cars that were faster than anybody else's for less money. There would be drag racers out there spending big money. My dad would pick up stuff in the backyard and put it together out of scrap and be the fastest man on the block. He went to 8th grade in school. My dad told me everything you ever needed to know from a public school you had already learned by that age. The only thing that school needed to teach you was how to read and how to write and how to do math. Science and history needed to be learned on your own, not dictated by people who wrote a book. Because the same people that write that book for those elementary and middle and high schools are the same ones that write those college textbooks. They're all owned by the puppet masters. So if they take your child in at the age of 4 and they give you this book and they tell you this is what history was, this is the only way it is because this is the way we say it is. No, it wasn't. They are teaching our children lies. They are indoctrinating them with their ideology and they are confusing our children's identity. I constantly, and if you don't with your children, make sure you are, please. Ask your kids if any of this is being brought up to them at school. If they've got to go to public school, go look at the library. Go look at the books that they're allowing them to get. Because other people teaching your children, they're going to teach your children what they want them to learn, not what you need them to learn, not the things that they're going to need to be a productive and successful adult in this life. One of the things I did see Charlie say is college was unnecessary, and I honestly believe it is. My daughter went to college. She got her degree in pharmacia. She didn't follow through with it. She didn't like it. She had to go there to get her license, but she wanted to be a formula pharmacist, one that can make compounds. No, you don't get to just make anything. You get to put 1 plus 1 equals 2 in their bottle. That's all that was. You had to go by their standards. So the people that give you the sticky pokies create the sickness. They teach the doctor in the schools they fund with the textbooks they write. They fund the physicians' offices in the hospitals, which employ those doctors, which write you things to address symptoms, not a disease. If doctors were accurate, you wouldn't need a refill on your prescription because a well patient is not a return customer. I am 50 years old. I have been in a car wreck where I literally crushed my head and stuck a limb through my temple from being stupid. I've had cancer, I've had a heart attack, and I've had 18 other surgeries. A good portion of those surgeries were due from somebody not doing their job correctly, and it had to be redone several times. One of them actually lost their medical license for it. They're not here to help us, folks. Not the teachers, not the doctors, not none of those people. They are here to indoctrinate you, enslave you into a system that you just keep lining up and giving them your paycheck that you worked all week. It is not an American thing or a human thing that you were supposed to get up when the sun comes up, go work all day long, barely have time to feed and hug your kids before you put them to bed and do it again. To turn around and hand all of that money to somebody else for food that's not healthy, water that's not clean, and houses that aren't fit to live in. Because where I come from in South Carolina, people who are making $50,000 and $60,000 a year can barely survive. There are public servants that are protecting and serving us that make less than $60,000 a year and can barely survive. These people go out and work 12-hour shifts, 3 and 4 days a week, risking their life to barely have life. That is not the American dream. The American dream was torn apart years ago when they started pushing feminism. Trust me, I am all about burning a bra and a woman needs to be equal. But it tells you in the Bible that a woman is supposed to submit to her husband. That does not mean she's supposed to bow down and kiss his feet. It means he's supposed to be the leader of the household. When you have too many voices in a crowd, nothing can be heard. But if each household has a leader, those leaders can come together and come to agreement and have a conversation, not an argument. They've lied to us. They've tricked us. And they've pulled us into this slave system that they bought and built our own prisons. What you don't have to spend to survive, you got to turn around and give to them in tax money so they can send it off to some foreign country to help them buy a tank to go kill other people. It's crazy. Yes, the approachable one. Each child that goes to a public school accounts for a dollar amount. This is why you get, where was your kid at today? Why weren't here? They've missed 4 days. We're going to take you to court. You have to come. You can only miss 10 days. That's because if they miss more than 10 days, they lose their money. And if you miss too much, they're scared to death. There'll be a gap in that indoctrination that something slipped out of that kid's mind. The American dream we were sold is not a dream, it's a nightmare. The only person who can fix that nightmare is us. So, the ones of us that are awake, that see, that understand what's going on, I understand there's a great deal of people out there that we cannot wake up. We're just going to have to deal with that fact. There are going to be loved ones that are going to be asleep, and they're going to be asleep till the end. I really hope that end doesn't come as soon as we think it's coming, but I think it's coming sooner than we ever imagined. Because the dark forces in this world are trying to push us there. So we all have to be a source of light and a source of love and to love each other. The highest vibration is gratitude and love, and that cannot come if you have dark in you. So I'm going to leave everybody with this. We've been on an hour. We've talked about quite a bit of this. I hope one person that heard this got something out of it. Because if one person out there takes something from this and it's positive, I have done my job today. And I hope to keep doing that job every day. Wake somebody up. Have that conversation. Sometimes it's just a matter of finding not the deep stuff that we all know about that's all going out there about these puppet masters. Find something simple. Have a conversation. You don't never know. There are people out there who are scared to admit that they believe in these things, and some of them think they're going crazy. Love your family. Safeguard your kids. And be careful who is in the presence of your children. Because, like I said, they're a blank white t shirt as children. You got to be careful about whose tie dye ink bleeds off on them. Thank you all for coming. I see you all in there. Carol, Mama Rages, Dream Team, Joe, Joey, Daniel, Kim, Mike. Thank you guys. Thank you all for coming today. Have a blessed evening. And Daniel, we'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget we have the tinfoil hat contest going on. It's the supernatural show. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Because I can't make no money off of this till I get some subscribers, and we've all heard about how bad the unemployment situation is right now. But go subscribe, like the video. Yes, Daniel, protect the children. Protect them with your life. They are our greatest resource. They are our future. We are the world. Um, be safe. Pray up. Stay positive and love one another. Thank you all. Have a good evening, guys. Good night.